Hello and welcome to Big Friendly Grub. I hope you are safe and well. Now, at the time of recording, the UK is currently letting up some of the restrictions on the lockdown. Now, I'm not going to get into as to whether that is a good idea or not, but what that means is some places are slowly starting to open up again. Some like cafes and things like that can start to give some like service, like, takeaway service and stuff like that, like through the hatch with lots of social distancing and stuff like that. That also means that some fast food restaurants are starting to open up again as well, and one of those is McDonald's. And when they opened up again, like the drive-throughs opened up again, people were queuing for up to 3 hours for McDonald's, which to me is absolutely bonkers. Now, I'm not going to knock McDonald's too much because it has its place. It's fast food. It's supposed to be quick and easy and something that you can grab for the kids, or if you're on your way to somewhere. For me, it used to be like a really good like post drinks food. Something to kind of satiate that feeling you have when you had a few too many beers or something. But I don't drink anymore, so that's completely gone out the window. For me, it's something that I can grab. Say I'm driving somewhere a long way and I stop somewhere halfway, go for to use the facilities and have something to eat. Grabbing McDonald's is a quick and easy thing to do. And that's the thing, it's supposed to be quick and easy. Queuing for 3 hours to get McDonald's to me makes no sense. It's not that good. If you've got 3 hours to kill to try and get some food, you might as well try and make something. If you've got the stuff, then you might as well try and make it. You can make it so much better than what you can buy in McDonald's. It's functional food. So what I thought I would do today is I'll try and do a fake away and try and show you how to make one of my favourite things from the McDonald's menu, and that is the good old Sausage and Egg McMuffin. I do love a sausage and egg McMuffin. It is a guilty pleasure, but I don't know, there's just something about it. And if you've not had a McMuffin before, it is basically sausage, egg, a slice of that really rubbish cheese that you can get, all inside an English muffin, or as we call them here in England, a muffin. So I thought I would show you how to make that today, but I thought I would also show you how to make the actual muffins at home, because they are really good fun to make. So this is a full-on making your own sausage and egg McMuffin completely from scratch, including the muffin. And you can use the muffin for pretty much anything else. It's super versatile. It is wonderful. So I'm going to show you how to make those and everything from scratch. So if you've got 3 hours to spare, don't go queuing in a ridiculously long drive-through queue. You can do this instead. So let's get started. Right, first things first, for our McMuffin, we're going to need a muffin, and like I said, I'm going to show you how to make that from scratch. So what we're going to need to start off with is some strong white bread flour, and we've got 300 grams worth here. This is very similar to a normal bread dough, so a little bit less flour than you would usually use for a loaf of bread. Then we're going to need 7 grams of salt on one side of the bowl and 7 grams of yeast on the other side, using one of these handy dandy sachets. Also, we're going to need 25 grams worth of sugar. Put that on top of the yeast because the yeast loves sugar. We also need 25 grams worth of butter. Plop! And on with our hook. And we're going to need 175 millilitres of milk. I've warmed it up slightly just because that helps get the yeast going, not too much. You don't want it to be really, really hot or anything, because that'll kill your yeast. You kind of want it just so it's a bit warm to the touch, not scaldingly hot or anything like that. So I'm going to put some of it in, almost like half of it to start off with, and set this off on a medium speed, just to let it combine at first. Then as that starts to combine, I'm going to slowly drizzle in the rest of it. So all the milk's in, you can see that's coming to quite a tacky and sticky dough at the moment, which is absolutely fine because with some kneading, that's going to come into a lovely smooth dough. So now that has come together, I'm going to pop this back down, turn it back onto like a medium speed and let it knead for about 5 to 10 minutes. If you're doing it by hand, I would recommend 10 minutes. Right, this has had about 6 or 7 minutes and that has come together into a really nice smooth looking dough. Let's get this off that hook. You can see that is right because that is coming off the hook so clean, and that is really, really lovely and smooth and stretchy, and it feels really, really nice. There's nothing better than a really nice soft dough, and that is lovely. So back that goes into the bowl, cover it up with some cling film or a tea towel or my little hat like I've got here, and then that needs to go into a warm area to prove for about an hour or until it's doubled in size. Now that's having time to prove, why don't you do something to fill the time that you like to do in these times of self-isolation? Do something constructive, learn a new skill, go talk to a friend via Zoom, something like that. Me, I'm going to go what I like to do and go socialise with some of my best pals at this time. Oh, Kat, you're so interesting and funny and witty. You're so cool. Oh, you'd never leave me. You'd never leave me alone. You. So after about an hour where 0 existential crises happened, this has roughly doubled in size. So now we can take this out of the bowl, get this out of here, knock out the air and throw down some semolina. We're throwing down semolina because that helps kind of give us the texture that we want on our muffins. And these aren't baked in the oven, they are cooked in a pan, just like crumpets are. And you can see me make crumpets in one of my earlier videos, so go back and check that out if you're interested. I'm going to roll this out to about 2.5 centimeters thickness, I think, roughly. And we're going to need a cookie cutter. This one's about 9.5 centimeters, which is roughly 4 inches. And this has been dusted in flour to stop it from sticking to our dough. And we're just going to cut out shapes. So I'm going to press down and cut out as many shapes as I can get out of this. I'm hoping to get roughly about 6. Not quite 6 there, I've got 5. But what I can do is can probably roll this out again slightly. Won't get quite as good a shape as these other 5, but that's fine. Right, I did manage to get a 6th one out of that. It's not quite as good a shape as the other ones because it has been re-rolled. So if you can get 6 out of it the first time round, nice one. Otherwise, this is fine. These are going to go onto a baking tray, which has also been dusted with semolina. Then I'm just going to cover these with a clean tea towel. And these can be left for another hour or so to hopefully prove and double in size again, and then we can cook them in the pan and get our muffins. Right, so our muffins have had some time to prove again, and they have puffed up some. They are looking nice. They have come up quite nicely. This one looks a bit rougher than the others because that is the one I had to re-roll. So do be careful if you are re-rolling. Try not to over-roll it, which I think I probably did with this one, but that's fine. All the others look nice. So we now are at a point where we can get these cooked. And I say cooked and not baked because, as I mentioned earlier, these are cooked in a pan, not baked, just like crumpets. So these are going to go into a decent pan to cook. So let's get started with that. So I've got a really good sized pan here over at a medium to low heat. And I'm just going to get a few of these muffins in at a time. We don't want to over cram the pan because hopefully these will expand. I've had to position my camera right over the muffins due to a lack of space. So you're going to see me bringing these in from a weird angle. So I think I can get 3 in here at a time. And we're going to have these on a low heat because what we don't want to do is have the heat too high and cook the outside too quickly and then risk burning the outside without cooking the middle properly. So over a medium to low heat, you're going to have a little bit of patience. It's probably going to take about, I don't know, 6 to 7 minutes each side. So probably about 12 to 14 minutes in total. So we're just going to keep these over the heat and hopefully these will puff up nicely. You might be thinking, this is an awful lot of work for a McMuffin, but as far as I'm concerned, 3 hours in a queue is an awful lot of work for a McMuffin, and this way you get to just do everything yourself and have lovely homemade muffins as well. And we're going to make the sausage filling and cook our own egg and everything, and it's just such a better feeling than going and getting a McMuffin. I know McMuffins are kind of moreish and they do have that guilty pleasure, they are one of mine, but this is just so satisfying. So these have probably had about 8 or 9 minutes and we are starting to get that browning on the bottom that we want. It's taking slightly longer than it usually would because I have not made muffins on this hob before and it's slightly different to ones I have used before. So your mileage may vary, but that is kind of what we want on that side, a lovely browning. So I'm going to turn these over and we're going to do the other side and hopefully get some nice browning on those. I might actually turn these over for a couple more minutes on the other side again once this other side has finished cooking. Same again on the other side, probably about another 8 or 9 minutes maybe. Again, your mileage may vary. So we should have some lovely colour on this other side. Yes, that we do. They are now, well, these are now muffins. I'm just going to give these another couple minutes on the other side just to get an even colour on both sides. These are looking really nice. Look at those. And we can get these then to cool down and I can cook the other 3 and then we can get on with just letting them cool for a little bit and then constructing our McMuffin. Don't know what that hand gesture's for. That is the international sign for a McMuffin or something else, I don't know. So sometime later we have 6 lovely muffins. One's got a few more imperfections than the others. That's the one that I re-rolled, but it is like me, it's got a few imperfections, but it's still beautiful on the inside. At least that's what my mum tells me. These are really lovely muffins. If you want slightly thicker, then you can just roll it out the dough slightly thicker, but remember that is going to change like the cooking time. You've got to get the balance of the nice colour on the outside along with making it sure it's cooked on the inside. This thickness is good. It's going to give us a nice muffin just to encase our sausage, egg and cheese, which is what we need to move on to next. These are going to cool down completely while we can get on with our filling. We can do the muck part of our McMuffin. So for our sausage and egg McMuffin, we're going to need some sausage, and I have no idea what goes into the sausage at McDonald's, and to be honest, I'm not sure I want to know. I'm sure it's fine. It's probably just got a lot more preservatives and stuff in it. But what I am going to be using is some actual pork sausages. So these are just some really nice pork sausages that I've got hold of, and I am going to squeeze the meat out of these, which is going to be lovely viewing for everyone involved. So you're going to take your sausage and you're going to squeeze it out of the end like so. Isn't that delightful? And just get all of that meat out, and then do it for the other 2 as well. Now these sausages are probably well seasoned already, but I am going to add a little bit more seasoning to them. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt, not much, because pork is quite salty anyway. Don't know why it's salty. Perhaps it's because it gets eaten so much. I'd be pretty salty if I got eaten as much as pigs did. Then I'm going to add some black pepper, a few grinds worth, and I'm also going to add in just a dash of nutmeg because I find this goes so well with pork sausages. Not too much. Then I'm just going to get in and mix this together with my hands. Don't worry, I did wash my hands before handling the meat and after handling the meat, before handling all those seasoning bottles, because I mean, you've got to wash your dang hands now in these times anyway, but you've especially got to wash them really, really well when you're handling raw meat. Right, our seasonings have been mixed together through our pork, so I'm going to get this onto my raw meat chopping board. You can tell because it's got bacon on it. Plop that onto there. Now I've got a cooking ring which is the actual same size as my muffins, which is handy. So I'm going to pop that down there. I'm going to take probably about half of this. I'm going to pop that in the ring so I can kind of get the size and shape right, because I want this slightly larger than my muffin because it will probably shrink down when I cook it like most meat, but this will help me get the initial size right before I flatten this down, because the patties in a McMuffin are quite thin. Now whether that's portion control, whether that's just McDonald's trying to save money, I don't know, but they're not the thickest patties. You could do it thicker if you want it. You could pimp this up as much as you like. I'm going for a really nice home version, but I think I want to try and get as close as I possibly can. So I'm going to take this ring away, then I'm going to flatten this down so it's a bit larger than my ring, so it's a bit thinner. There we go, that's a good size. So this is now ready to cook. So let's get on with that stage. We are almost there. I know this is a lot of work for a McMuffin, but it's really worth it. Right, I've got a pan over a medium-high heat with a little sunflower oil in it. So I'm going to get my sausage patty into here. Slide you in, you can hear that sizzle so you know it's hot enough. If you're not sure if it's hot enough, you can always break off a bit of the patty and pop it into the oil. One of the good things about having a thinner patty, it doesn't take as long to cook, so you can cook this in a few minutes on each side, and that is smelling absolutely fantastic. That nutmeg in it, it just comes through and it just lifts it. It's going to be so nice. So this has had about 3 minutes on that side, so I'm going to flip it over, and you can see that is really nicely cooked on that side. That is looking amazing. So I'm going to cook it for about the same amount of time on the other side, about another 3 minutes or so. So that's had another 3 minutes on the other side, and you can see that's got another lovely golden colour on it. So that is now cooked through, I am 100% sure of it. So I'm going to take this and just pop it onto a plate with a little bit of cloth just to drain off some of that oil, and we can then use that oil to cook our egg. Now I've moved that pan off the heat just for a moment, because if I leave that oil on there it will start to smoke and burn, and then I will have a fire hazard, which I don't really want to deal with right now on top of everything else. So for our egg we need a really nice round egg. They're quite thick in the McMuffin, and we're not going to get that by just throwing the egg into the pan. So I'm going to use my trusty ring again. So I am going to grease my ring. Yep, greasing my ring is back. If you watch the crumpet video you'll see what I mean. So we're going to just grease this very, very lightly with some sunflower oil, just to make sure hopefully the egg won't stick. I'm going to get my pan back over here, and I'm going to pop my ring into the oil so it's flush against the pan. And I've got a nice large egg, which I'm going to hopefully crack into here without it going everywhere. In it goes. So that's going to give us the shape of our egg. I'm going to just lower that heat down so it's not so high, so it doesn't cook the egg really, really crispy on the bottom without cooking that yolk first. And this might seem like sacrilege, but I'm going to break that yolk because generally the yolk is already broken on the McMuffin and we want this to be kind of flat. So this will even things out, everything will cook properly. Just going to cook that egg in the oil until it's completely cooked. Right, that egg's had a few minutes, that looks well cooked through, so I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to remove the ring, hopefully. Or will you come away? Have I greased my ring enough? I think I have. Oh, it's sticking a bit, there we go, that's good. A little bit of stickage, could have greased my ring a bit more, but otherwise, all fine. So I've turned the heat off, I'm going to take my egg and just going to flip it over as quickly as I can, just to give it like a few seconds on the other side, just to cook the other side. That should be enough, no longer than that. Turn it over, and I'm going to pop this onto here just to drain off as well, and then we can construct our McMuffin. So it's the moment you've been waiting for, is the construction of our bacon and egg McMuffin. We've got Bobble and Squeak over there looking on in anticipation. So we need to start off with our muffin. So I've got one of our lovely muffins, which I've already sliced, and you can see how good these look inside. Look at that texture. That is absolutely fantastic. If I can get into focus, let's use just one. There we go, that looks really nice. So I'm just going to toast these on that side really quickly. I don't want to do it on that side. Right, I've just lightly toasted my muffins on one side. Geez, that's hot. So that can be the bottom of my McMuffin. And I'm going to add a little squirt of ketchup, to be honest. I can't remember if there's ketchup in here, but I'm adding a little bit, not a lot, because I'm not a massive ketchup fan, but it seems right here. Then there's always a slice of plastic cheese in a McMuffin, so I'm using one here. This is Dairyly. I really want the really orange, lurid, orangey plastic cheese, but I couldn't get any. Didn't have any, so this will have to do. At least it's still plastic cheese. Then on goes our sausage. That's become a really nice size just to fit into our muffin. Then last but no means least is the egg, and that goes on there. Then the crown goes on our McRoyalty because it is head and shoulders above what you can get in a McDonald's. Look at that, that is a McMuffin. That looks really good. I can't wait to tuck into that. Yeah, that is our McMuffin. That took a bit of time just because we made the muffins from scratch, but you can cut out loads of time if you use pre-bought muffins, which are also really good. But this way, you can make muffins and you can have like your own muffins, use them for anything that you want. But that looks really good, and I'm not going to waste any more time to get stuck into it. There we go, one sausage and egg McMuffin, or in this case, a McMuffin, made completely from scratch, including the muffins. It takes a bit of time. It takes about 3 hours in total to get one of those, but to be honest, that certainly beats spending 3 hours waiting to get through a drive-through McDonald's in these crazy times. And this way you get homemade muffins, which you can use for other things other than a McMuffin, and you can just potter around your flat while you're waiting for those to prove. You can play a little Animal Crossing like I did, or whatever your heart fancies, and you're not stuck in a car trying to get through a drive-through. And that looks really good, because once you've got the muffin, the rest of it is easy. It's just cooking the sausage, cooking the egg, and then constructing it with the cheese. Easy peasy. And if you've already got muffins, if you've bought them, even less time. But making your own muffins is so rewarding, and I highly recommend you give it a go. So there's nothing else left to do but give the McMuffin a try. McMuffin sounds weird, why am I saying that? Anyway, I'm going to give it a go because I have waited a long time for this and I can't wait. And it's just got that right feel to it as well. It's got that anticipation that you have when you get a McMuffin. So I'm going to dive right in. Oh yeah. That has got everything that you need from a McMuffin and more, because you've got that sausage there which you've seasoned yourself, you know what's in it, and you've got the perfectly cooked egg, and you've got that beautifully fluffy muffin that you've made yourself, and it's not soggy or sad that you can sometimes get with a takeaway McMuffin. It is perfectly cooked, it is delicious, it hits the spot. That is exactly what you want from a McMuffin. And you've done it yourself, you've made that whole thing yourself. It is so good and it is so worthwhile. So if you've got the time to spare and you're thinking, I really want a McMuffin, but I don't want to venture out there into those crazy times at the moment, then do this. If you've got the stuff to make it, do it, because it's so good. And you've got other possibilities for the other muffins that you've made as well. So I've got another 5 muffins that I can use for other breakfasts. I could toast them, have like cream cheese and smoked salmon on them, or whatever you want really, whatever you love to do with your muffins, do it. This was just one option. This was showing you how to make a McMuffin at home, and it is so worth it. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found it useful. If you did, let me know. And obviously if you enjoyed the video, if you enjoy what I do, like the video, subscribe to the channel so you can find out when I'm putting up new videos. I try and put them up like once a week, twice a week if I'm feeling fruity. But otherwise, hope you enjoyed this. Take care of yourselves, look after each other, and I will see you next time on Big Friendly Grub. I'm going to go finish this bad boy off. Bye.